Hi everyone, this tutorial basically focuses on ERD to relational mapping. So how we basically convert an entity relation diagram to a relational model. So one thing we should know that ERD is a complete, you can say, representation of a particular scenario that represents a particular situation very well. But when we try to model it in the database, we have to convert it into the way so that it is you can say more easy to be for the DB designers to convert it into the actual database, or basically relational model is a more you can say clearer picture of a database. So when we talk about ERD, so ERD basically comprises of, you can say, two different or two main things: entity relation diagram. One is entity and the second one is relationship. So we basically have to look into both of the things, that how we model entity and how we model relationship into a relational model or into a relational diagram. So let's just talk about the entity first, then we will discuss about the, you can say, relational model. So for that, let us take the relationship. So let us take the, you can say, employee entity. So if my entity is employee would be having certain attributes, like for example employee's name, single valued attribute. Let's say employee has a unique identifier, employee identifier, or you can say employee ID, employee number. You can address it any way. It may comprise of, you can say, any composite attribute like address. For the sake of simplicity, I'll only consider, you can say, city and let's say lane number, two attributes of this address. You may add any number of attributes. Let's say date of joining, that at which date the employee has, you can say, joined the particular organization or particular institutes, and then it may have years of service. Okay, and it is, let's say, since we have got the date of joining, so I'll mark it as a derived attribute because it can be derived from date of joining. And the last one is skill set. Since every employee has a diverse nature of skill set and we cannot limit it to a single particular value, so I'll just take it as a multi-valued attribute. So now in this particular case, I have an entity and I have a single valued attribute, composite attribute, derived attribute, and multi-valued attribute as well. So we will see how we are going to model this type of particular you can say entity into the relational model. Okay, so there are couple of things that you should know. Every entity, either it's a strong entity or a weak entity, will be converted into a table. That means that I be having a table with the name employee. Okay, I have created a table with the name employee. Now I'll try to map all these attributes accordingly. So name is a single valued attribute. So single valued attribute will become simple attribute or a simple column or a single column of a table. Similarly, I have got employee number, which is a primary key. So employee number will become the primary key or unique identifier of this relation. Okay, now another thing is I have got this this composite attribute address, which is basically comprising of two more attributes, city and lane number. So whenever we encounter this type of attribute, what we do is we basically ignore this address, and we will write this as a single valued attribute, that is city and lane number. We will write it directly into the as a part of our final table over here, or final relation over here. Okay, so next attribute is date of joining. Date of joining is also a single valued attribute. So date of joining will come directly as a single valued or as a single valued attribute or as a column. Okay, now here we have got years of service. We don't need to write years of service here because it is a drive attribute, and we can figure out or find its value from date of joining by applying simple mathematical calculations. So we basically ignore this attribute, and we will not make it a part of this particular entity or this particular relation diagram. Okay. Last attribute is skill set. As you know, skill set is a multi-valued attribute, which means we don't know before time that how many attributes or how many values this attribute may contain. For example, employee 1 has, let's say, 3 skills: C++, Java, and Android. Maybe employee 2 has an additional skills of PHP as well, web development as well. So we don't know how many attributes, basically how many entries or how many values this attribute may contain. So when we have this type of attribute here, so what we do is we basically split it into another cell. So this relation will end over here, and this skill set will become the part of, you can say, our another new table. Okay, so we will basically create a new table with the title, let's say, skill set. And in skill set, we basically write this multi-valued attribute as skill set skills. And since we have to associate these skills with the employee, so we will write the employee identifier, unique identifier as well. So this key is also the primary key of the employee, and this is also the part of primary key of skill set. But in skill set, we have made this skills also as a primary key along with the employee number, or in other words, employee number and this skills, both attribute will combine together in order to form a primary key of this second table skill set. The reason of separating this skills from this particular is relation is we don't know the exact you can say values that may fall under the skill set of a particular employee before time. So in order to avoid duplicate entries and avoid the mess, we basically split it from this table, and we will create another table like this over here, so that we have you can also say it like this is the foreign key that is being imported from, you can say, this employee key. So this is the our employee number here, or employee identifier is a foreign key from this particular employee table, or this is the primary key of this particular employee table that has appeared as a foreign key over here. Okay, so this is how we basically model any, you can say, entity to relational model. Now what if we have weak entity? That is, if we have got any entity having two rectangles like this. For example, I say this is the dependent, that is those individuals that are depending on employee for you can say their daily life, in order to perform daily life activities or financially or any other way. So let's say I'll create a relationship between these two. Employee has dependents, let's say. So you see, dependents has also, let's say I say it has also an identifier ID, let's say it has also name attribute. So you can see now, in order to model this type of structure here, what you have to do is you have got another entity and a relationship. So I will not discuss this relationship now. I'm only discussing the entities here. So for the time being, I'm ignoring this one. So in order to model a weak entity, what you need to do is you have to create a table for dependent like this. Let's say I am creating a table for dependent, and dependent has all the attributes that it owns, that is ID, which is apparently unique identifier of dependent, and name. Okay, so these are the attributes that I have, single valued attributes that dependents has. So I have written it directly like this. But there is another thing, every employee has a dependent. Okay, that employee has someone who depends on it, or it is quite possible that some employees may not have any dependent, but if there is an entry of dependent in a table, that means that it must belong to a particular employee. So how do we create the link between dependent and employee? By adding the unique identifier of employee over here. Again, this employee ID is, you can say that foreign key, or a key that has been taken from employee and is basically combines with the ID of dependent in order to uniquely identify a particular dependent. Since dependent is a weak entity and it depends on employee for its existence, because dependent of any employee has nothing to do directly with the department or the institute that or organization that is basically hiring that particular you can say employee. So that's why whenever we have to model a weak entity, we basically look for the strong entity on which it depends on and add that unique identifier to our weak entities table and make it as a part of primary key of this table. Okay ji. This is how we basically map any weak entity or strong entity to our relational model. Okay, now we have covered, you can say, this part, this one. Now we will look how can we basically convert a particular relationship into a you can say a relational model. So when we talk about relationship, so we know that whenever we talk about relationship, we have to you can say look for the you can say constraints. So we have got like two different type of constraints. Number one is cardinality constraint and number two is partial constraint. We have got these two type of constraints that we need to be very careful about that. What are cardinality constraints? One to one, one to many, many to one, and many to many. And what are partial constraints? Total and partial. Sorry, this is participation. Okay. Okay, so we have got two types of participation constraint, that is total and partial, and four types of cardinality constraints. So when we are dealing with the relationship, we have to be very careful about these type of constraints and degree of, you can say, degree of a relationship, whether it is unary, binary or ternary. Okay, so let's start with the, you can say, binary relationship, because binary is the trickiest of all. So we will start with the binary relationship. So when we talk about binary relationship, that means that it involves how many entities? Two entities that are somehow communicating with each other via some relationship. Okay, so it means if we have binary two entities, then we have we have to look for the cardinality constraint as well as the participation constraint. So let's take an example in order to explain this thing. Let's say I have an employee as an entity, and let's say the role that it is dealing is as of manager. So employee manages, okay, let's say a department. Okay, this is binary. And what is cardinality constraint over here? 1 to 1. One employee is managing one department. So if I draw it like this, it would be something like this. So we are discussing over here is binary 1 to 1 relationship. Okay, so in this type of relationship, since the cardinality constraint on both sides is same, so we will look for the participation constraint. Whenever we have the same cardinality constraint, only then we will look for the participation constraint. When this constraint is many to many or one to many or many to one, then we don't have to look for the participation constraint. But in this particular case, we have same cardinality ratio, so we'll look for the participation constraint. So employee manages our department. When we look at the employee table, now we will we have got this, since we have got the same cardinality constraint, we will look for the participation constraint, and for that we have to basically So we have to basically look for the instances that are basically participating in this particular relationship. So when we talk about the employee, so not all employees are the managers of the department. So let me put it this way: only there is one person which is managing a department. Or if there are three departments, let's say for example of a particular organization, then only three employees will be managing the department. So the not all the instances of this employee are participating. So here our participation constraint is partial. Okay, so now when we talk about the department, every department has a one manager. So every department, every instance has got a manager. So it means that it is the participating in which sense? Total. All the instances are participating in this particular relationship, and in order to represent total participation, we basically write it like this double line, that this entity is basically having total participation in this particular relationship. Okay, so whenever you encounter this type of situation, so what you do is that you made the primary key of a partial participant as a foreign key of the total participant. So if I draw the tables like this, like if I have employee, and let's say this table is having certain attributes: employee number, employee name, and xyz, like this. It may have any attributes. I'm not going into the detail of the attributes. And let's say I have another table of department, and let's say it has also department id, maybe department name and all. So whenever we have converted the ERD into, you can say, this type of model, now in order to model this type of relationship, what we do is we basically make the department the basically entity having the partial participation as a, you can say, the key of the entity having the partial participation as a foreign key in the entity having the total participation. That is, this employee ID will come here as a foreign key. This key is basically, you can say, came from this employee ID, and we have done what? The make the primary key of the partial participating entity as a foreign key in the entity who is participating, whose participation constraint is total. Why we have done this? So because you can see that if I make the department number as a, you can say, foreign key in the employee, then I have to like add the department number or the manager ID in front of each and every employee, which takes more memory. So if I add the employee number, which is basically, this employee number represents the manager of this department, so we will save lots of space, as we only add the manager detail to this particular department table, not to the other table, which may consume more and more space. So this is how we manage binary one-to-one relationship in a model, basically binary one-to-one relationship in a relational model. This is case number one. I repeat it again. In case of binary one-to-one, the primary key of the partial participant will become the foreign key of the total participant. Okay ji. So this is how you will represent it like this. Okay, now let's consider another case of, you can say, binary one-to-many relationship. So let's take another case, binary one-to-many. Let's say I'm having an example of teacher entity, and teacher basically teaches a particular subject. Okay, so when we consider this type of relationship, so you can see that a particular teacher subjects can teach many subjects, whereas one teacher subject can be taught by only one teacher at one particular time. So this is binary one-to-many relationship, or you can also call it binary many-to-one relationship. So whenever we encounter this type of relationship where we have cardinality constraint as one-to-many, we don't go for the participation constraint. We will directly do what? We will directly make the primary key of the relation on the one side of the relationship become, you can say, made as a foreign key in the relationship of n side. That is the, you can say, primary key of teacher will go towards the subject. The reason being is one teacher can taught many subjects. So if we make a table of it, so in front of one teacher there are multi-valued attribute as a subject or as a subject key, which is not possible or not allowed in terms of database. In terms of, you can say, while creating the database or the table entries. So we will do what, we will take this teacher id and write it in front of the subject. So as a rule of thumb, just make sure that whatever is at the one side, you make its primary key as a foreign key and take it to the inside, so that we don't have the multiple rows. In subject, we just directly write teacher id in front of subject id, which makes it more easier to write. We just have to add a new column. Whereas if we try to take this subject id and write it in front of the teacher, take it like this: a teacher is let's say teaching 4 subjects at one particular time, then how you write, how you add basically 4 different subject ids in front of one single row, which is not possible. Multi-valued, whenever we encounter multi-valued attributes, we cannot take it or write it in a one particular table. So we may encounter some problems. So as rule also specifies that the key at the primary key of one side of the entity relationship will become the foreign key at the other relationship. So if I write it like this, so let's say this is my teacher entity. Teacher has having some id, some name, or some xyz parameters. Let's say this is my relation of a schema of teacher, and when I draw the schema of subject, so let's say subject has its own subject code, maybe name, and other attributes like this. Okay, so here what you do is you make the teacher id. Let's say I write it like this: teacher's id as a foreign key in this particular relation of the subject. So this will become, teacher id will come in subject as a additional, you can say, column. This is how we model binary one-to-many relationship. Whenever we encounter this type of situation, we basically do what? Bring the key of the one side to as a foreign key in the many side of the, you can say, the relationship. Okay ji. Now the third type is if I take the same degree binary, and the third cardinality constraint is many to many. Since whenever just a reminder to remind you all, whenever we have same you can say one-to-one binary one-to-one, we look for the participation constraint. Otherwise we don't look for participation constraints. Just as you have seen that in binary one-to-many, I haven't looked for the, or I haven't even bothered about the participation constraint, and same I will not look into the participation constraint whenever I deal with the binary many-to-many or many-to-many relationships. Okay, so in order to explain this type of relationship, let's consider an example of a student. Okay, student, let's say, enrolls in a particular course or in a particular, you can say, subject. So one student can enroll in many courses, and one course can be taken by different students. So this is, you can say, binary many-to-many relationship. In order to model this type of relationship, what you have to do is, since both entities are in a many-to-many participation, many-to-many relationship, so what we do is basically initially we basically draw the, or basically construct the schema of these strong entities. Let's say student has student id, maybe name, and all other xyz attributes. Similarly, when I draw the, or I map it, like convert this course entity into the relational model, so course may have id, course may have different title, and all other attributes. So now in this case, since it is a many-to-many relationship, you are not so sure that for which entity you should take primary key as a foreign key in other entity. For example, in front of course, if you try to take student ID in front of course, so in each course there are like multiple students, you cannot like write multiple values in a single cell. And when you try to take course ID to the student, so each student is involved in multiple subjects, so you cannot do it that way as well, because it will consume lots and lots of memory. So what you do is you basically creates a new table with the name of this relationship and roles, and in this particular table you write the primary key of both of the entities, that is student ID and course ID, as a primary key of this key. Okay, here this relationship may also have any attribute. For example, I say it like the date on which a particular student has enrolled a course, so it will also appear over here. Now you have seen that this student ID has come from here, and this particular, you can say, course ID has come from here. So you see that these two are the primary keys that have become the foreign key of the third table. And whenever we have to model many to many, we just do it like this. We create the simple tables or relations of the entities, and in order to model the relationship for many to many, we basically create the another table. Okay, so this was all about binary, one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. Whenever we have we move to another some other degree, like let's say ternary or any n-ary relationship. So whenever we always follow the same strategy. We create the trees of the, you can say, basic entities, and for relationship we create a separate tree like this. Okay, so ternary and n-ary relationship will be dealt similarly like binary, many to many. We create the separate tables for all the entities, and for relationship we create a separate relation for that, and all the participating entities, primary keys of the participating entities will become the foreign key in this particular table, just like we did for the binary, many to many. Okay, so now we are left with only one case, that is unary relationship. Okay, so whatever the cardinality constraint of a unary relationship may be, so we basically make the primary key of the same table as a foreign key in a particular table. So for in order to understand this thing, let's consider an example of the unary relationship. Let's say I have got employee as an entity, and there is some manager. There is, you can say, a person or a group of person that that particular employee may be managing. So the relationship between employee and this employee is of, you can say, manager and subordinate. One person is managing many employees. So you can see that this is a unary relationship where one entity is linked with itself via relationship of manager of your managers. So in this particular case, how we convert it into the, you can say, relational model is we create a schema, or we create a design for this particular employee, where this employee may be having attributes like employee number as a primary key, employee name, and all other attributes as a part of this particular schema. But what we do here is, since this is a unary relationship, so we will add another you can say attribute as manager ID, and this manager ID is the same ID, employee ID, like this. This represents the ID of the person who is managing a particular employee. So this is how we basically manage unary relationship. We basically make the primary key as a foreign key in the same table that we are being dealing with, or that we are being working on. This is how we basically manage binary, ternary, unary, and n-ary relationship, and we convert it from entity diagram to relation diagram. Okay, so you can see that in this lecture also I have like given you or provided you the rules of conversion. So whenever you have a complete picture or a complete ERD, you just look at each and every relationship and each and every entity and try to model it like this. That is, if you have a relation, look whether just it's just like if I give you an example of the binary many to many or binary one to many. You have seen that in this particular case I have got two entities, so I have just drawn the table of two entities. If I have got another you can say let's say here I have another relationship like this, subject book or subject has textbooks, let's say. So I'll draw another you can say table over here or another diagram over here, and I map it accordingly in the relational model. So you basically have to map all these steps or all these things together whenever you are being provided with a complete picture or a complete ERD diagram. Okay, I'll try to create a video on the example of this modeling as well. So stay tuned to my channel and don't forget to subscribe it. Thank you for watching.